Hey everybody, Who's Your Jedi here with another review for you. This time I'm talking episode 8 of Total Drama All-Stars, You Regatta Be Kidding Me. And overall, I thought this was an alright episode, but it doesn't really feel like there's a lot of grits for the mill, if you were. I just really don't feel like there's a huge amount to talk about in this episode, but I'll try and do the best I can. Now, first of all, I've kind of complained about how Courtney and Gwen just never really felt like people who were terribly close friends, and them, Gwen especially, is suddenly having such a mad on to be friends with Courtney seemed really weird for them. This episode, now that they've patched things up, takes it to just a level that is just beyond weird. Where they basically start the episode with them essentially waxing philosophical with how great it is that they're going to be friends again, and they're so happy that they're friends. They're going to be best buddies forever. Guys, if this had been a live action show on the CW, that scene would have ended with some music by some extremely forgettable band starting, and followed by Courtney and Gwen starting to make out. And if that had happened on the actual show, I'm pretty sure within an hour Tumblr would have exploded. I'm not really sure how that is physically possible, but I'm guessing, yeah, that's totally what would have happened. So, yeah. I have a feeling this is going to make that scene right there is going to make for some very interesting additions to the TV tropes and Total Drama wiki page. Never mind the fan art. But fandom is what it is. Anyway, apart from them, I'd say the secondary big character thing going on this episode is with Duncan. And while I was watching this episode, I was reminded of the character of Prince Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender. And if you're not familiar with the show, the short version is Zuko is a guy who starts off as basically a bad guy. A bad guy, a sympathetic bad guy, but still a bad guy nonetheless. And by the final season of the show, he's done a 180. He's pretty much unquestionably a good guy, but he's doesn't really have very much experience at being a good guy. There's this one point where after screwing up yet again, he even kind of cries out to the heavens, "Why am I so bad at being good?" And Duncan at this point has basically become the complete opposite of that. Duncan was, pretty good at being a bad boy for a very long time. Now this season has started up, and for whatever reason, he's really sucking at being a bad guy. And a lot of what we've seen him is his rather laughable attempts to get his mojo back. Now, this episode does eventually lead to him somewhat succeeding. I mean, he did destroy Chris's house, but one, it's a little hard to not feel that, oh yeah, Chris totally deserves this, considering the number of interns he's gotten horribly killed. But really, the best part of this to me was seeing Duncan get dragged off to big boy jail. Considering some of the stuff that Duncan has done over the years, he's pretty much in my book second only to Chris to people who deserve to get dragged off to big boy jail. And Chris got his just desserts there or he has already gotten his big boy jail just desserts. Now, granted, a year for all the stuff that Chris has done over the years seems a pretty light sentence, but well, it's something, right? But anyway, that gets Duncan off the show, and frankly, I'm okay with that. I really think Duncan had kind of been spent as a character. Obviously, Gwen and Courtney really didn't want to have anything to do with him anymore. And his story of trying to get his bad boy mojo back, well, they ended it pretty much at about the right time. So I don't really have any problem with Duncan taking an exit at this point. And frankly, we all know that Duncan was probably going to be out the door anyway because he won Total Drama Action. At least he was, I believe, the official winner. The unofficial winner was Beth, of course. But hey, speaking of Duncan, did you notice when he tries to he actually tries to go to a boat or whatever? No, he said he was going to drive Chef's car into the ocean. Well, that's the thing is, remember, Total Drama Island is set in Muskoka, Ontario, Canada. And Well, there's really not a huge amount of Ontario, if you've ever looked at a map of Canada, that touches the ocean. Now, if you want to count Hudson Bay as the ocean, then yeah, you have a little bit of a case. But even then, if you actually bother to check and see where Muskoka is in Ontario, it's nowhere near Hudson Bay. In fact, it's actually touching Georgian Bay, which is part of Lake Huron. So Duncan saying the word ocean makes absolutely no sense. So somebody at the writing staff completely dropped the ball on that one. And as your intrepid reviewer, it's my job to point these things out. Anyway, one thing that I was happy about in this episode is Chef actually had enough lines to come across as a character rather than just some sort of voiceless plot device or minion that Chris could point at our helpless animated teens and sit back and laugh while Chef inflicted various miseries on them. So it's kind of a question of whether or not the guys at Fresh TV suddenly found some money, or they were just sort of putting Chef actually being able to have some lines off until later in the season. Either way, I continue to feel kind of bad for the fellow that voices Chef. It feels like he's definitely getting the short end of the stick this season. Not really a huge amount to say about what was going on with Cameron and his quote-unquote evil tendencies. Now, I really wouldn't say that's evil so much as him, just doing what it takes to win total drama. You kind of do have to have a little bit of a ruthless streak. You have to be willing to do what it takes. But of course, Cameron, does at least show some remorse for his actions. And let's face it, Scott's the kind of guy who has stuff like this coming. Although Scott is pretty much second only to perhaps Duncan in ranks of, people who used to be effective as villains and completely suck at it now. I mean, at least Alejandro is still held on to that. Scott was actually a pretty good manipulator last season. Now his skills of manipulation seem to have gone down the toilet. And it's frankly quite embarrassing and rather disappointing to me. Let me see here. I don't really have very much to say about the whole situation with Mike and Mal. It just feels like they're kind of continuing what we've already seen before. Now, granted, Mike's made some progress. He's met up with Chester. We know that Zoe being in danger can at least temporarily get Mike his control of his body back. But I don't know. I'm just not terribly excited about what's going on there. It's just not really grabbed me in a sense of drama. And of course, the whole key to whatever's going on being off in some mindscape tower in the distance, that's been done a million times. Why is it always some creepy looking tower too? Why is it never like an IHOP or something? Just to be different. Anyway, so I have a feeling that probably in terms of who's going to go next, I'm thinking, well, Cameron has surprised me a little bit in that he keeps dodging the bullet, but I don't think that's going to last forever. But if I had to pick anybody to go next, I'm thinking probably Scott, because there just really doesn't seem to be anything left to do with Scott as a character. And yeah, that's really all I got for you this time around, guys. As always, please comment, rate, and subscribe, and of course you can follow me on Twitter at Who's Your Jedi. Till next time, take care and have a good one.